Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Seeds of Music. I'm your host Kyle Williams, and this is the only awesome web show where aspiring musicians can learn right now how to produce music, find their market, and effectively grow as an independent artist or producer. Even if you're not a serious musician or producer, you just kind of dabble. If you listen to these interviews, you're going to have a lot of information that you can apply to whatever you do, like for your job or your vocation. And even if music is just a hobby, it'll help you enjoy your hobby even more every day. This is the episode we're going to switch things up a little bit. I have Alex Coker on the show, and Alex actually works in science and research fields. He's not exactly in music, but there's something really cool that he does do that I think any musician or producer or independent artist can learn from, and that's like how to network. Alex is a big fan of Comic-Con and a lot of stuff, like comics and video games and stuff like that. Actually, I am too, so I knew a lot of the stuff he was talking about. But, you know, he's actually able to go to these huge conventions where, you know, these people who are either voice actors or actors in the actual shows, you know, are getting swamped by fans, and he's able to actually connect with them and hang out with them afterwards at a bar, you know, and grab like a beer or a shot of whiskey or whatever, grab a bite to eat. And, you know, that's like an incredible skill to have, not only for, you know, enriching your own life by having more interesting people in it, but by furthering your network. And I think that anyone who is serious about advancing their music career or getting into the music industry needs to have this skill. So it's going to be a quick interview, so let's jump right into it. Okay, Alex, man, thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate this, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, cool, man. So, I understand that, I know this is kind of like, this is a different kind of episode, because usually I'm, you know, bringing on, you know, either musicians or producers or entrepreneurs in general. But what I think is cool about what you're doing, or what you've done, is that you've found a way to connect and actually hang out, like even have, you know, scotch with, you know, someone that you're a big fan of and you really look up to, like Steve Blum, the guy who does the voice acting for, I mean, what does Steve Blum do?
Well, he's done like he was the lead voice inside Bulletstorm, and like, I don't know, it seems that every single time I play a game, I've gotten really good where I can recognize his voice, and he always seems to be at least one voice in every video game I play. But he's done, I think his biggest role was he was in the anime Cowboy Bebop and Spike.
Okay, I recognize that one. That's really awesome. So you have like a knack for meeting amazing people, you know, that you're a fan of, and I think that's something that, like, anyone, you know, for anyone who's like watching, like whether you're a musician or artist, there's got to be some kind of method to approach these people. Like, I mean, Alex, how exactly does this happen for you?
Well, what I do is, well, at first I go to places where I know they're going to be. Like, I go to a con, but I don't go to like Comic-Con because there's way too many people. They're never gonna.
Can you explain what Comic-Con is, just in case someone watching doesn't know what it is?
Comic-Con is like, I think that's in San Francisco, where they have a ton of people come. It's pretty much one of the largest conventions. Okay. And it's usually just a gathering of all sorts of nerdiness, between comics, video games, and all sorts. I mean,
I know what it is, but just for someone else, I mean, there's definitely a lot I would love to see there. So, let's say you go to Comic-Con, so you're going to places where these people are. I mean, what else?
Yeah, I usually go to like small cons, like local cons, and then they have some downtime, or you go to a panel, usually early in the morning when there's not a lot of people, and you just, you know, they're always going to get questions like, how do I do what you do? Or how do I become an actor? And I don't know, those are always questions I just try and avoid. Instead, I just try and have a conversation like, you know, do you have any pets? Or anything like that. And then afterwards, if they don't seem too busy, I say, hey, you know, there's a bar right down the street. Would you like to go get some chicken wings or something like that? And then usually they say yes. And then you just go and you just hang out and talk with them. And that's how I've met most of them. I met Troy Baker by just that I saw him walking around the con. He looked bored, so I said, "I got a bottle of scotch. Do you want to go have that?" And he said yes. So we went and talked and played Batman Arkham Asylum together.
Oh, great game, great game. Actually, I have Arkham City on my computer, but who is Troy Baker? What does he do?
He's also a voice actor. He was the lead in BioShock Infinite. He also did a Catherine, which is a game by Atlas, which is a strange game, but one of my favorites. I don't think a lot of people played.
So, I guess it seems like instead of just coming up to them with this question, like really generic businessy type questions, you did something that was like more genuine, more natural, like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I just treat them as a person and just be generally friendly, but like, I don't really go in there with the intent of, oh, I want to meet this person and get their number or anything like that. I just want to have I just want to come away with a good story. Like, I hung out with this person. And so most of the time they're bored when there's long periods of time between there's this panel and that panel. And normally they're from, LA. So when they come to Florida, they have no idea where any places to eat or anything like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
I take them to lunch or to dinner.
So maybe,
yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that they're outside of their normal stomping grounds, like that's an opportunity to, go up to them, like say if you went to see like your favorite musical act and, assuming they're not Prince and, they might be hanging around afterwards to, sell merch or whatnot, like you can approach them and, say like, hey, I know like this great sushi place or a great Mexican food place around the corner, would you like, catch it? And that might be like a better way to approach them.
It's just kind of like playing host, like you would host a dinner party. You kind of act the same way. But the one thing is like, they also can say no, and you have to respect that because they may get that a million times by a bunch of really creepy people. So,
so how do you not be creepy? Just I guess
smile,
smile,
and just oh, I loved you in this. I don't know. I usually am not just like you're the best person ever, but I usually try and bring up like actual discussion points. I like how you did this and that, and it doesn't it doesn't matter if it's a comic book artist or a game designer. As long as you like actually engage them in conversation and not just splurging words at them, they tend to respond.
So talk to them normal,
Yeah.
So I guess if you, if I went up to, actually I went to like a CD release party that had one of my favorite hip hop groups there, and when I went up to talk to him, actually it was really hard for me to because I was really, really excited, but it probably would have been best to just say, hey, I love how on this album, on this song, you used this sample and you had this type of flow. I thought that was really cool how you commented on this, because then it actually gives them like a talking point to respond back, rather than if you just said,
"You're the best."
You're awesome, man, and they're just gonna say thanks, and there's nothing else they can respond to that, and they probably will think you're a little bit creepy. But,
but sometimes that doesn't work. Like I'd go up there with that intent, but like I met Patrick Stewart and I went and was trying to talk to him, but all I could really get out was, "I think you're awesome," and then he's like, "Thanks," and then that was that. I'm like,
you just have
that
one. I'd probably do the same thing. I guess it's like you have to work at it more. Have more practice and self-control, so that when you do approach like a large actor or a musician or whoever, that you're composed enough to speak to them with like confidence and level-headedness that I think that they're kind of intrigued by that, because they see, oh wait, this person's not flipping out like a crazed fan.
I think also the thing that is they get oh, you're the best, I love what you do, but if you actually bring out like an intelligent discussion point, I think that also makes them think, oh wow, this person actually cares instead of just passively. They actually know what they're talking about, and that sort of confidence and calmness usually I mean, it's translated very well across the board for me,
Mm-hmm.
between like professional jobs
Mm-hmm.
and just hanging out with people. It seems to work.
Okay. Yeah, and if you've, I mean, I knew who Steve Bloom was, and I mean, I don't know a lot about voice actors, but I knew him because I watched Toonami and I heard his voice played as
Mhm.
Spike in Cowboy Bebop. I was like, that's the same guy, and I keep hearing him everywhere. So I looked him up. So he's like in that space, like it's very, very big, big name within that space there. And Troy Baker doing Bioshock Infinite, that's like a huge game
Yeah,
that anybody plays games knows about. So it's no small feat. But is there any one specific mentality that you have when you approach these people? Would you say it's just be genuine, or what is it?
Um, actually, what the thing that made I used to be really shy, but really I kind of got over because I had to do a lot of public speaking for class.
Plus you're going to be seen by everyone on the internet on this site.
Yeah, well, I got over it by just thinking it was like everyone I meet is instead of just they're strangers, I just treat them as friends.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, that kind of makes you kind of open, but if everyone's your friend, then you don't really have any problems. So,
Yeah.
if you just approach with that friendly kind of like mindset, then I don't know, it just that's what snapped me out of being shy.
Okay. And did it come quickly, or did it take a while
No,
before?
it took about 4 years all through high
Four
school. So,
years. All right. All right. All right. Hey, man, it takes a long time to reprogram
yeah,
yourself. I
but
totally understand it.
um, I mean, like, but I've always been good at talking to people. It just sometimes it took me longer to actually start talking.
Yeah. Okay, man. So the next thing I wanted to touch on is Desert Bus,
Yes.
because this is something that you actively promote. What exactly is Desert Bus?
Okay, Desert Bus is a video game marathon that gathers money for a charity called Child's Play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Child's Play is a really awesome charity that they buy video games, board games for kids in hospitals so that they can play with something while they're staying there. And the way they raise the money is by they play the worst game, well, the most realistic game ever made, which is Desert Bus, made by Penn and Teller, as a joke.
Yeah.
Uh, Basically, you start in Tucson and you drive to Las Vegas in real time at 45 miles an hour. And in a bus, it takes 8 hours. You get to Las Vegas, you turn around, you drive back to Tucson. And that's the entire game. There's nothing more to it. The bus slowly drifts to the right, and if you go off the road,
Yeah.
you have to get picked up by a pickup truck. And that also goes in real time, and you get dragged back to the last city that you
With a
visited.
bug splatting on the windshield
Yeah,
and
that's the
eight
that's
bit
the
graphics.
that's the most exciting part of the entire game is that occasionally a bug will splat up against it.
It sounds horrible, but it actually in a way is not, because it's also in a way is a networking event. I mean, like how what kinds of people have you been able to meet? Have you been able to meet anybody in your field? Have you made any connections for
Yeah,
your
actually.
work?
I met two people. I met someone called Steve Dangler who made like a currency exchange website
Mm-hmm.
when he was young and has become filthy rich and
Is he a
incredibly nerdy.
Oh, okay.
So he sponsors Desert Bus because his sister is like a member of the group that runs it, and I got to talk to him. I was talking about how you can drum up sponsorship for other activities and events,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me a lot of really good pointers. And I also met through it's kind of like the theory of 6 degrees of separation. Like
From Kevin Bacon.
yes, yes, from Kevin Bacon. I haven't actually met Kevin Bacon yet, so maybe that's not
That's
true.
next on your list. All right.
But I met a girl my age that was going to college in my state, and then her sister's boyfriend is the vice president of financing for MakerBot, and used to work for Rockstar Games.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
so like I was like, hey, can you give my resume to them?
There you go.
So just by meeting people, everybody knows someone. Like if you think about it, you're like, oh, I don't know anybody, but you have a friend that whose uncle does something important. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so like that's pretty much what I found out that if you just look hard enough, you can find the connections.
So you were able to, just by, like going to this essentially charity event, to not only provide this like service and help, to children, but you were also able to, strengthen yourself by making more connections with other humans, or other people that might have been in your field or might have not, but either way, you were able to forge connections with like influential people, and I think that's like important for anyone who's looking to advance in their career, their field, whether it's music or not. But for musicians, there's all sorts of events and meet and greets. There's even meetup.com that they can go to, even like, or because even the stuff on meetup.com, like there's things are local and you meet local musicians, and even if they're not musicians, they may know someone who owns like a small indie record label or is a sound engineer, and you just never know until you try. But for you personally, like your experience with Desert Bus, like how important do you find it is to go to these events, to meet
Well,
these people?
I've well, I mean, first of all, like I've never actually been to the event, is it's in Canada. But what I do is I manage like they use a chat system.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
like I send them stuff. I talk to the people that are work there so I can try and get them guests and whatnot. So
Hmm.
I remotely help, but they have a whole team of tons of people,
Okay.
and I help organize crazy stuff. Like I was recording the stuff for them and putting it up on YouTube, and then so they can have clips to show people to try and
Okay.
get them in. But um, shit, I forgot the question.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, it was just like how, like, so most of your connections, that are made through Comic Cons and stuff like that. How important on a scale
Oh,
of 1 to 10 do you think it is to go to these events? From 1 to
um,
10 being the biggest.
I would probably rate it at 10. This is the single most important thing that I think I've done in
Okay.
terms of my professional career and just as a person. Um, it it just teaches you a lot. You get to do something really good, and you get to see there's a lot of people all working together,
Yeah.
so that you get to do something good for someone else. And then you can always say, "Hey, man, we worked together at this one thing. Can you help me out with this?" And they can do vice versa. So it goes well beyond the charity event.
Okay. Yeah. So 10. 1 out of 10, guys.
That is not even a hard question.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer, especially in who you've met. So, yeah, that wraps it up, Alex. Like, thanks again for coming on the show, and for anybody listening to right now, like, hey, you can apply all these things that Alex is talking about, like, to yourself as a musician. It's pretty much clear. Just go
Yeah,
to events, go to
or
anything.
even if it's not an event, you can always just like wherever you buy your equipment from, that person probably sells it to other people. So you can go there and meet people there.
Oh, yeah, that's a great.
just just networking through people.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So even with the specifics aside, just the basics is get out there, with the intent of meeting interesting, influential people and just approach them as a friend,
Yeah.
and be genuine about it. Don't be douchey.
Yeah, it's always good to do your research. If you just walk up to someone and have no idea who they are, you're just gonna look like an ass.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. All right, Alex. Well, thanks again for coming on, then.
No problem.
Okay, see you later. Okay, so that wraps up another episode of Seeds of Music. Make sure to check out Desert Bus. you can play it in your browser if you want, but I'm sure you have a lot of fun doing that. But it's just like a great charity with like a great idea and a message. So at least check out their website. And if you ever have a chance to make it out there, definitely try. Like, I know I will if I'm able to. So again, guys, I'm going to say it again a gajillion billion times, but because it's so important, sign up for the email newsletter, Seeds of Music. You go on the front page, you see it on the sidebar. It's going to be little forms that are going to ask for your email address. That's it, no spam, just put in your email address, and you'll get on the email newsletter, and you will be the first to know about everything about Seeds of Music, including the interviews as they come out. If you're watching from another service such as YouTube, and maybe you're subscribed to the channel, do yourself a favor and also subscribe to the email newsletter, because that's the best way for me to communicate with you instead of through the YouTube interface. So head over to seedsofmusic.net and use the forms to sign up. Also, if you've learned something great from this interview, hopefully you did, about being able to connect with people that you look up to and getting to have a beer with them and increase your network, by being just a really genuine person. If you feel like this is right on the spot, then like this video, share this post, share this interview with your friends. If you think they'll benefit, then you'll be doing them a favor. And last but not least, comment on the video. What was your greatest takeaway from the interview? Do you feel like the next time you go out to a meet and greet or a convention or maybe a show, and maybe it's a small intimate show, we will be able to talk with the artists at the merch table? I mean, do you feel like this is going to help you out in that situation, to be able to connect with that artist or musician or producer or industry figure that you're looking up to? And are you going to do anything? Are you going to apply what you've learned? Are you going to take action? Because that's really important. And is there anyone that you would like to see interviewed? Do you know of someone who's a great artist or entrepreneur or producer who just knows so much and would love to come on the show and be interviewed? Then just let me know. Shoot an email over to kyle.seedsofmusic@gmail.com. I will answer every single email. It may take 1 or 2 days to get back, but I'm on top of things and I will get back to you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and I'll see you next time.